The European spot for particle exploration, CERN, is uncovering the subtleties of another iota smasher today. Something on different occasions greater and 2 times as profound. It has found 3 new particles that could be useful to us comprehend how our universe was considered and what its future resembles. Analysts at CERN have as of late uncovered discoveries that turn how we might interpret the universe on its head. Underneath the outer layer of their historic investigations lies a vast expanse of particles and powers so weird they could be straight out of sci-fi. From likely entryways to different aspects to particles that challenge the actual groundworks of the real world, what strange privileged insights are covered inside these tests? How about we plunge into the universe of CERN and unwind the insights that could rethink our universe? The entryway to new dimensions, a wormhole, could hypothetically show up out of the blue overhead, and the explanation could be the noteworthy tests led at CERN, home of the enormous Hadron Collider, LHC. The LHC is the world's biggest and most remarkable particle smasher, situated close to Geneva, riding the boundary among Switzerland and France. There are mysteries about this curious association that the world doesn't have the foggiest idea. Privileged insights that might actually change how we view material science in the universe. CERN, the European Association for Atomic Exploration, works this immense logical instrument. It stretches out north of 27 kilometers and sits profound underground. The essential capability of the huge Hadron Collider is to permit physicists to test the expectations of different hypotheses of molecule material science. This incorporates the high-profile examination of the standard model of molecule material science, which assists us with understanding the essential structure blocks of the universe. At its center, the enormous Hadron Collider works by speeding up protons to almost the speed of light prior to crushing them together. These crashes produce a shower of new particles, which researchers study to acquire bits of knowledge into the laws of nature. It was through such trials that the Higgs boson, frequently alluded to as the God molecule, was found in 2012. This disclosure affirmed how particles gain mass and was a significant second in molecule physics. The tests led at the Huge Hadron Collider are fundamental for understanding peculiarities that happen under outrageous circumstances, similar to those following the enormous detonation. The information gathered can perceive us more about how the universe began and advanced and about the key constituents of issue. This makes the enormous Hadron Collider a piece of possibly uncovering new components of the real world, aspects that could make sense of secrets encompassing dim matter and the basic powers of nature. Such progressed trial and error at CERN doesn't come without worries. Some hypothesize about high-energy tests making dark openings or bizarre matter that could present dangers to Earth. Nonetheless, CERN guarantees that all well-being means are met, and mainstream researchers intently screens these examinations. Audits and hypothetical models affirm that any perilous situations are incredibly improbable. Through its continuous examination and revelations, CERN assists us with understanding the universe better and exhibits the unbelievable limit of human imagination and joint effort chasing knowledge. Unveiling the LHC, humanity's state-of-the-art wonder. The Huge Hadron Collider at CERN isn't simply a noteworthy piece of innovation. It is a marvel of current science and designing. Situated underneath the Swiss-French boundary, the enormous collider goes through a passage 27 kilometers in perimeter and as profound as 175 meters underground. This makes it the biggest molecule collider on the planet and quite possibly of the main instrument in the field of molecule physics. The construction of the Huge Hadron Collider is intended to deal with analyses of exceptional scale. The fundamental ring of the collider, housed in a passage with a breadth of 3.8 meters, contains 2 neighboring equal shaft pipes. Each line coordinates protons in inverse headings, advanced by a progression of superconducting magnets. These magnets are urgent for keeping up with the way of the protons, bowing their direction at speeds near that of light. Encompassing the pillar pipes are layers of cooling frameworks that keep a temperature colder than space, important to keep the superconducting magnets at their required working temperature. The size of the Huge Hadron Collider is likewise featured by its utilization of thousands of magnets, including 1,232 dipole magnets to twist the shafts and 392 quadrupole magnets to concentrate them. The biggest and most remarkable superconducting magnets utilized are 15 meters in length and weigh 35 tons each, displaying the tremendous actual scale and mechanical desire behind the Huge Hadron Collider. The primary reason for the enormous Hadron Collider is to investigate the essentials of the universe by noticing the littlest parts of issue. By speeding up particles to almost the speed of light and afterward impacting them, the Huge Hadron Collider permits physicists to concentrate on the subsequent particles created during these crashes. This cycle helps in testing and growing comprehension. We might interpret the standard model of molecule physical science, which is the ongoing best portrayal of the subatomic world point. One of the vital targets behind the enormous Hadron Collider's examinations is to reveal the secrets of the Higgs boson. Its disclosure at CERN in 2012 affirmed hypotheses about how particles gain mass. The enormous Hadron Collider likewise explores other key particles and powers, expecting to resolve basic inquiries like the presence of dull matter and the idea of the universe not long after the huge explosion. Also, the Huge Hadron Collider looks to check the presence of new particles that hypothetical physical science predicts, however, has not yet noticed. These analyses are fundamental for possibly finding new physical science past the standard model, including supersymmetry and aspects past the recognizable three spatial dimensions. The vision behind the Huge Hadron Collider isn't simply to comprehend the universe's structure obstructs, yet to encourage worldwide cooperation. With great many researchers from north of 100 nations cooperating, the Huge Hadron Collider is proof of worldwide participation in the journey for knowledge. The enormous Hadron Collider's plan and scale empower it to handle probably the most serious inquiries in material science. Its motivation stretches out past simple logical interest, planning to grow how we might interpret the universe and rouse worldwide cooperation in science. Through this huge and complex contraption, humankind keeps on pushing the limits of what is known and adventure into the quantum realm. But how does the enormous Hadron Collider truly work? At the core of CERN's exploration offices, the enormous Hadron Collider fills in as a strong magnifying lens into the quantum domain, permitting researchers to notice and concentrate on the principal particles that make up everything in the universe. The course of molecule speed increase and impact at the enormous Hadron Collider is a critical strategy for concentrating on the underpinnings of physics. Inside the collider, two high-energy molecule radiates travel at almost the speed of light before they are made to impact. These bars travel inside tubes kept at super high vacuum, mirroring the states of room. Superconducting electromagnets, cooled to temperatures colder than space, guide and center the shafts at assigned impact focuses along the passage. These bars cross, crushing particles along with gigantic energy. The crashes produce different subatomic particles, some of which are profoundly shaky and exist just for parts of a second. To distinguish and investigate the side effects of these impacts, the enormous Hadron Collider is furnished with monstrous identifiers: Mapbook, CMS, ALICE, and LHCb, each intended for explicit sorts of exploration. These finders catch information about the particles, including their mass, charge, and energy. This information assists physicists with testing forecasts of molecule material science hypotheses, including the standard model, and investigate particles and powers that administer the universe point. One of the main revelations at the enormous Hadron Collider was the disclosure of the Higgs boson in 2012. This molecule, at times alluded to as the God molecule, is significant on the grounds that it gives proof to the Higgs field, which is answerable for giving mass to rudimentary particles. The presence of the Higgs boson was anticipated by the standard model, and its disclosure was a stupendous accomplishment, affirming well-established hypothetical predictions. Beyond the Higgs boson, the Huge Hadron Collider has likewise been instrumental in finding a scope of different particles. For instance, the collider has given proof to the presence of pentaquarks and affirmed the presence of tetraquarks, particles made of 4 and 5 quarks, separately, which had not been seen previously. These revelations grow how we might interpret hadronic matter, which is matter made of quarks bound together by areas of strength for the power that keeps the cores of iotas intact. These discoveries show the prescient force of the standard model and furthermore open new roads of examination in molecule physical science, offering bits of knowledge into the way of behaving of issue under outrageous circumstances like those not long after the huge bang. Theoretical risks: science or science fiction? As the abilities of the enormous Hadron Collider grow, so do the hypotheses about its expected risks. Two of the most talked about speculative dangers related with the enormous Hadron Collider are the making of strangelets and the possibility to generate little dark openings. These situations have caught public interest and logical examination alike. Strangelets are a theoretical type of issue that is more steady than conventional matter. The hypothesis proposes that strangelets could change over any matter they come into contact with into abnormal mat.